So one of the most neglected parts of SEO or a website's SEO is mainly voice search. And I've heard so many things about voice search, and people saying that we're not optimized for voice search, or we're really well optimized for voice search. There are two problems with voice search. The first being that there's no data. So if you run a website, you have no idea whether a lot of your clients or customers are coming in through voice search, or if they're typing in a query to find your business. The second problem is that you have no idea what's being asked by the person who is using voice search. Google does not share that data, and well, they probably would never share that data with us. But I recently read a Forbes article, and it goes into like 12, 13 things that you should do or not do when optimizing for voice search. Now, I think it's 12 common SEO errors to avoid when optimizing a site for voice search. So I found the article, I put it on the screen. The problem with this article is, well, I'll go into more detail towards the end of the article. I will go into more detail about why a lot of this is just not applicable towards the end of the video. But what I will say here is that a lot of what they're saying is it's not applicable to SEO and not even to voice search. And the reason for that is a lot of this is, if you're doing good SEO, you're already doing a lot of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that Forbes is a no SEO. Forbes SEO team is probably one of the best SEO teams out there, maybe second or third to CNET's. And I know people that work on the team. I know people who have worked for me and now they work on the team, and they're really good SEOs. They know exactly what they're doing, and they get paid a lot of money to do it. But they don't get paid money to put out their secrets or publish their secrets on Forbes. So I'll just run through a few of these and tell you why this is not good information, or why you shouldn't follow this type of information. Because if you do, it's not going to be great for your SEO. So the first point they make is that your website ignores long tail keywords. And I have the screenshot for this. You can see it on the screen. If we were doing good SEO, you would not be neglecting long tail keywords to begin with. But the problem with this is that if you use too many long tail keywords just to optimize for voice search, you will not rank as well for the keyword that brings in the most traffic, or the set of keywords that bring the most traffic. Long tail keywords, and the longer the tail of the keyword is, means that you're not going to rank organically or get enough traffic organically for that keyword. And many of these long tail keywords are one-off traffic sources. So if you just optimize for long tail keywords, which are longer than, let's say, 4 or 5 words, you're in pointless territory, because it just isn't worth it. The effort isn't worth it. You just shouldn't do it. My advice is to use a combination of your primary keyword and LSI keywords, and then have a separate FAQ section, even though now Google isn't ranking featured snippets from a lot of sites. But still having that there means that you're optimizing for voice search. If someone asks a question, especially if you're in one of those niches, and if you don't have that on your website, or you don't have that on your web pages, you can have a dedicated FAQ section that just goes into everything. And it's like a lot like a self-service section on a lot of websites. If you maybe go to Verizon's site, you go to the customer service section, you go there, they have a lot of Q&As, and that goes through everything. So you could have something like that, and that would be perfectly fine for voice. The second thing that they say is neglecting the significance of featured snippets. Now, featured snippets no longer matter. I don't think that they got the memo on this, or probably they haven't really realized that Google has announced that they're not going to rank feature snippets anymore, except from a handful of websites. But as I said earlier, if you have FAQs on your site, you don't have to worry about that. Trying to optimize for voice search in the first place. Well, not many websites I know are trying to optimize for voice search. They just try to optimize for the keyword that they see is bringing in the most traffic. And that's the most common sense approach to doing this. A lot of my clients don't say that we want people, we want to optimize for people asking their phones for the nearest best pizza parlor near them, or anything like that. So a lot of this is just this is just pointless. So focusing on keyword optimization without context. Now, keyword optimization and context is two separate things when it comes to Google, because for Google, your keyword is part of your keyword is context. So it's keyword and context. So, but if you use your keyword in the right context, you will obviously stand a higher probability of ranking. But for the most part, this is not something you need to worry about. It's only for some of those niches where you have a couple of keywords for which the context may vary. For instance, I offer a topical mapping service on my website. So there are two types of topical mapping. There's one topical mapping for SEO, obviously, and then there's topical mapping for geotopical mapping. So I need to make it clear on my web page that this topical mapping is not the geotopical mapping. Now, when I initially optimized my page, and I still do, I'm ranking for the geotopical mapping thing because a lot of those keywords overlap. And so Google still doesn't understand the context of my website. And so if you look at the search for topical mapping, you will see people selling geotopical mapping services, geotopical mapping software, topical mapping SEO services, topical mapping gigs, and you get the idea. So this is something, even Google does not understand. So just saying this and just to add a point to your article is just pointless. So again, this is not something you need to worry about. And if you worry too much about it, it probably might harm your SEO. Not providing answers to the 5 W's. So the who, what, when, where, and why. Well, most FAQs I read have answers to the 5 W's. So again, this is not something you would need to worry about, and it has absolutely nothing to do with voice. Ignoring cultural or local language nuances. So let me just say, Google does not understand any other language other than English, maybe French, and that's it. So if you're optimizing a website for any other language other than English or maybe French, you can do anything you like. You'll rank a voice search, you'll get into voice search. You don't have to worry about that because Google is far more inferior when it comes to other languages, and especially languages like Arabic, Hindi, Bangladeshi. Those types of languages, Google just can't understand. It can't wrap its head around. So it's literally a separate search engine for English and French maybe, and then there's an entirely different search engine, which is 15 years behind for all the other languages. And so optimizing for voice search for German or Dutch or any of this is just pointless. It's not worth your time. Not including location-specific keywords and phrases. Well, yes. Now, this is something you should do. You should have location-specific keywords and phrases if you're targeting a specific location. So if you're a local business, that would make obvious sense. But all local businesses that I get to audit have their location as part of the keyword, even though they don't even know SEO. And so they're doing that instinctively, and by doing that, they're ranking very well, or they're not ranking very well, whatever may be the case. But at the very least, they have that on their website, which means that you don't have to worry about it. If it's only if you're doing a website, you're not sure where your primary location is or who your primary target is, then you might create location pages, in which case, that's a whole separate video. Number 8 is something I already went over, then ignoring the load speed of your pages. For voice search, the loading speed of your page does not matter. And this is something I've tested. If the loading speed of your page is like super slow, it doesn't matter to voice search, as opposed to regular text search. So this is something you don't necessarily need to worry about. Yes, it's good. It's a good practice to optimize your web speed so that it loads really fast, but it's not a ranking factor per se. It's more of a user experience factor. And so users have a good experience on their site, on your site, your website will rank higher. At least that is what it said in theory. But I've seen a lot of websites that are super sluggish that rank very well because they've established themselves as an authority. And Forbes website is one of those websites. It's super sluggish. It takes forever to load. It's got pop-ups. It hangs up. There are JavaScript errors, but still it ranks very well because it's an authority. It's a media site. Not considering synonyms consumers use for keywords. Yeah, I mean, if you're selling a product or a service, you should consider synonyms. That's very common sense. And LSI keywords is really what common sense. Just very basic rudimentary keyword research. You will bring up a whole bunch of keywords that people are using. Some will have more search volume, some will have low search volume. But if you combine those keywords, your overall search volume will improve. But yeah, that's certainly something worth doing, but not just for voice search, but also for search in general. Not prioritizing users' mobile experience. All sites that I've seen in the past 5 years have been mobile friendly. So I don't know what they're talking about. This is something you don't need to worry about unless you access your site on a mobile device and you see that it doesn't scale well, or some graphics don't show properly, or the text doesn't show properly. Whatever that may be the case, if that is happening, it's an easy fix. Get it fixed. You don't have to worry about it. Using seller terminology than customers, that's not a voice search problem. That's more of an SEO and content problem. And so if your content writer should understand that who you're targeting, who your business is targeting, and then use that kind of terminology accordingly. Again, this is not for all, I would say this is not for all industries. Mainly this is for the legal and medical industry. And a lot of my legal clients are really hard to deal with because they want to put in terms that most regular people don't understand, and they want to do that because they want to cover themselves legally. But in terms of SEO, they're really doing a bad job, and so it's a lot of back and forth with legal clients. And so I need to explain this to them. But for all other industries apart from legal and medical, I have not had this problem. So finally, I just want to say that a lot of this that goes into voice search, and a lot of these articles that talk about voice search, they fail to mention that voice search is not going to be relevant, and it's not even relevant right now, because a lot of your answers are being answered by either Alexa or Google Assistant, operating system you're using. And so if you're using Cortana on your Windows, for instance, it's just pulling up results from Bing by default. If you're using Apple, it's maybe mainly using Google. And now they're using what's called artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence really just answers the questions right away. And so if you ask Cortana, it's pulling information from, I assume, and this is not 100%, I assume they're pulling information from ChatGPT, and the answer is instantaneous. It doesn't need to crawl a website. And so over time, this will become more common, and you would not need to crawl your website or access your website or provide links to your website. If someone says, which is the best hairdresser in New York City, she'll just say, you'll rat off like the top 3 that are near you, and then you can decide where to go, find out more about them. So optimizing for voice search is probably not going to be a thing, maybe by mid-2024. So it's not something that you should put in a lot of effort to do. Optimize for organic search, and because of organic traffic through text search is still way, way, way higher, at least based on the data, than voice search, because we have no data for voice search. So I hope you like this video. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know if your website is optimized for voice search. If you know of a way to track customers that are coming in through voice search as opposed to text search. And I'll see you guys in the next video.